Okay, let's take a look at a couple of word problems. Let's see, number 14. A cylindrical container of paint with radius of 6 inches and a height of 15 inches. Okay, so it's 15 inches tall. If all of the surface area except the top are made from metal, how much metal is used to make the container? Assume the thickness of the metal is negligible. Show your answer to the nearest square inch. Now, I think what they mean by assume the thickness of the metal is negligible is like don't worry about how thick it is, just kind of find the general surface area. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to draw a quick little picture. So here's my base of the paint can. Okay, and so my height, not my height, but the top of my paint can, let me finish drawing that there. The top of my paint can, I'll make it blue. Okay, so this side's supposed to be all gray. Didn't quite get there. And so the bottom is metal and the top is plastic. Now, they did say that the radius was 6. So this is the radius, and the radius would be here as well. And so that was 6 inches. And the height is 15 inches. That would be from here to here is 15 inches. The radius is 6 inches. Okay, so that's pretty easy. That means I need to find the area, the surface area of the label. So that's really the lateral area. So I know that's the 2 pi r/h part. So that would be 2 times pi. R would be 6, and the height is 15. But the bottom of the can, that's supposed to be metal, is a circle. So that would just be pi r squared. So that would be pi times 6 squared. Okay, well then 6 times 15, well let's do this easier. 15 times 2 is 30, and 30 times 6, well that would be 180. So I have 180 pi plus 36 pi. Well, 180 plus 36, I believe, is 216. 180 plus 36. Yep, that's 216. So that's 216 pi. Now it says to show your answer to the nearest square inch. So I'm going to use the pi button. So times pi. Don't use 3.14. Make sure you use that pi button. And that is 678.5. Well, the 0.5 is going to make it round up, so that would be 679. So that's 679 inches squared. So I need about 679 square inches of metal to make the paint can. Okay, so if the top of the paint container is made of plastic, this is part B, how much plastic is used to make the top? Well, it says assume the thickness of the plastic is negligible. Same thing as I said before. They said, well, you're not really worrying about how thick the plastic is. Just kind of get a general idea what the surface area would be. Okay, so that means that it's just the top of the paint can. Well, I don't really need to calculate that again because that's just the area of a circle. And I already found that to be 36 pi. So my answer is going to be 36 pi, but I'm supposed to round it to the nearest square inch. So 36 times pi would be about 113. So I have 113 inches squared of plastic that I'm going to need to make the lid. Okay, here's our last example for today. Number 15. Suppose that a cylinder has a radius of r units and a height of 2r units. So I'm going to draw my cylinder. So my radius is r inches, or r units, and my height is 2r. Okay, it says the lateral area of the cylinder is 64 pi square units. What is the value of r? Well, goodness gracious, how are we going to figure that out? Well, let's think about it. The lateral area, what does it mean to be the lateral area? Well, guys, that's just that rectangle right there in the middle. Remember, that's the soup can label. So this represents the lateral area. I'm going to go ahead and draw in the circles on the top and the bottom. So here's the circle on the top. There's the circle on the bottom. Okay, well, you know, that's the net for my cylinder there. Well, this is 2r though. So the height they said was 2r. And they said the radius was r. Okay. Well, how do I find that base again? What's this base? This base right here. So what is this base right here? This base right here. This is the one I want to look at. What is that base? Well, think about it. What did we figure that out to be before? So that base is going to be, isn't that wrapping around the circle? When you put that all back together and you put the circle down on the top and the circle down on the bottom, won't that go around the circle? So guys, this is just the circumference. So that's 2 pi r. All right, well then that means if I want to know what the lateral area is, hey, I find the lateral area by multiplying the base and the height, okay? So I know that this base times this height is going to equal this lateral area that they gave me. So I know that 2 pi r times 2r will give me 64 pi. So let's simplify on the left-hand side. I can multiply the r's together, so that would be r squared. So I took care of that one and that one. I can multiply my 2's together. That would be 4. So that takes care of that one and that one. And I still have my pi, so I'm going to put that over here, and that equals 64 pi. Well, if I look and see, I want to get r by itself because I have to solve for r. So let's see, we have the 4 next to it, and we have the pi. So I think I can divide both sides by 4 pi. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Well, what happens over here when you divide the pi's? They just equal 1, so they go away. And 64 divided by 4 is 16. So I know that r squared equals 16. Now that's r squared. I still have not found r yet, so I need to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 16 is 4. So the radius of this figure is 4. Okay, so it says, what's the surface area of the cylinder? Round your answer to the nearest square unit. Well, I know to find the surface area equals the lateral area plus the area of the two bases. So again, the surface area is the lateral area plus 2b. Why did I not put the formula this time? Because they already told us what the lateral area was. The lateral area was 64 pi. So I just need to find the area of the two bases. Well, now that I know what the radius is, that's 2 times pi r squared. So that's pi times 4 squared. So you have 64 pi. And 4 squared is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. So I have 32 pi. Hey, 32 and 64. Let's see, 32 plus 64. Let's see, that's 96. So I have 96 pi. And it says to round it to the nearest square unit, so that means I need to multiply by pi. Times pi. Let's see what we got there. We have 301.5, and I'm supposed to round it to the nearest square unit, so that means rounding it to the nearest whole number. And so that would be 302 units squared, because they didn't give me units. And that is the final answer.